morning. I am late today. Feeling a bit dizzy. Yeah, something could be going on in the universe, because today it's feeling like it's really kind of hard to describe. Like there is maybe in the midst of some sort of a shift going, and the energies are a little bit kind of skewed, you know, just odd today. But let's pull a card and see what we have today. Emptied. The ending and beginning lie at either side of the same door. Okay, emptied. The ending and the beginning lie at either side of the same door. Okay, so yeah, for something new to begin, you have to have something that ends. And definitely this is what happens in realization. The ending is the ending of the ego drama, the ideation of being a physical form, a transient form. Okay, so when everything deconstructs, all of a sudden one is in this, I've never been born, I've never died, it's eternal, and it's absolutely point blank reality, okay? And it's not something one sees with the physicality of the five senses. It's something that really cannot be explained in words, because there is a shift of consciousness. You are going from the realm of duality, you know, where everything you see is separate, distinct, okay, to a realm where there's just simply the divine is. And no matter what you see with the physical eyes, you know that it is only comprised of the divine is, okay? So it's a massive shift. So one thing ends and a new thing begins. Although what the new thing is, the beginning, has always been there. Okay, it's always been there, but you have not been aware of it. Okay, you have not been aware of it. So, you know, that's one aspect that happens, the end of the path, the search, finding God, you know, knowing what God is and what God isn't, and what self is and what self isn't. I think it's more important to find out what you're not, you know, the things that you're not. And that's what comes along the way of the path, the things that you are not, okay? Anything that is transient and changing is not the divine is. Neti, not this, not this. You look at, on that path of self-inquiry, you look and see what is transient. Emotions, thoughts, body, physical form. What's changing? What's changeable? That cannot be the divine is. So it's a process of elimination, but it can't be just done on the top of your head. Okay, this change. No, it's got to be done to very, very depths of being, okay? One has to encounter that, okay? So, you know, one does that journey. Neti, it's not this. Neti, not that. Neti, not this. Okay? So in that you know, in this path, and that's part of the path that I teach here, my Kundalini, the Kundalini awakens. And those that fear Kundalini, okay, be aware of it. It's demonic. It's, you know, no. Kundalini has to be awakened before realization can take place. It doesn't awaken at realization. And why is something going to awake that's demonic that you should be afraid of if it's the divine is? Unless you're afraid of knowing God, you're afraid of finding out what the world is and what it isn't, okay? Because that's what Kundalini does. It goes through the system, through the levels and layers of consciousness, okay? It is the divine is. So those that want to say it's fearful, it's this, it's that, they're after powers. If it's somebody that's after the lower level things, they want powers, okay? Then they're going to be taken on a ride, okay? Because, there's one part where Ramana talks, somebody comes about Tantra, and he's talking about the path of Tantra, the path of Kundalini, okay? That yes, it's a wonderful path. And then this guy's saying, well, what about, all the powers you can develop, and that's what I'm interested in, the powers. And Ramana just looks at him and said, well, I thought you were interested in the spiritual path, okay? Because powers of the mind, powers are of the mind and of the ego, okay? Are you wanting ego, more ego? Because you can get it if you want to stay in ego, okay? You can develop that. Or do you want to get to realization? Okay? Turiyatita, the still mind, no mind, direct consciousness without occlusions. Are you walking a spiritual path, or are you after powers? Okay, let's be clear. Yeah, so the spiritual path is not about developing powers. Turiyatita is not about powers, it's stilling the mind. Powers are only in place when one is within ego framework. Okay? And if you are on a path to want to develop powers while you are in ego, then you're going to be missing the most important thing, which is coming to the knowledge of divine is, okay? Okay. Same thing, if you watch Kali and you read the Chandipat, okay? Kali is Kundalini, okay? And they brought Kali, if you understand the story of Kali and the Chandipat, it's talking about, they were worried. The gods all got together, they were worried because the earth was getting filled with all these, little demonic nasty things as anger, jealousy, pride. All this stuff was overtaking the earth. And so they called Kali. Well, actually they called Durga. But when everything was distilled into the most, strength, it became Kali. But the Chandipat is about all the things used to fight these demons and the thoughts, okay? Chamunda, they would cut the head of the demon, and Chamunda would drink the blood, because what is that representing? That was representing the thoughts. And when the thoughts came out and they hit the ground, it would create 10 more thoughts. So that's what that represents. They cut the head, and Chamunda would come over here and drink all the blood. In other words, she would get rid of all those thoughts before they had a chance to manifest into a bunch more other thoughts. Okay? And it talks about all the weapons used, whether it was prayer and contemplation and all the other things that one uses on the path. Really, the Chandipat is about the path, okay? It's about Kundalini. It's about the path. It's about the way forward, okay? And the worst demon, what was the last demon? The worst one to get rid of? Ego. Ego, okay? Ego. That's why they needed Kali to get rid of ego. Kali, Kundalini, to get rid of ego, okay? So that's a path, but one thing has to end before the other can begin, okay? It's the same thing here, you know. If you want to move into something new, you have to be willing to let go of the old. Sometimes, especially if you're walking the spiritual path, you may lose old friends that you had, because as you progress, the things you're interested in change. Maybe you were wanting to party and doing these things before, but as you progress, you don't want to go party. You're not interested in benign conversations. You're not interested in those things anymore. So there is a parting that takes place, and one goes into something new. Okay. If one is, again, you have to be emptied of the old to have new. It's the same thing. They have the illustration in the Buddhist realm of this person comes to this Zen master and says, I want knowledge, I want to learn, I want, you know, and the Zen master picks it up and, you know, has this cup, and he just keeps filling it up, and it's overflowing and overflowing all over the table. And the guy's going, what do you do? Well, you got to empty it first before you can put anything else in. Okay? You have to have room for something new. You got to get rid of the old. And part of the path is getting rid of old concepts. Okay? Old ideations, the things that are ruling you, the things that are running your mind to keep you locked in this feeling of bondage, okay? Because the reality is we are always free. We always have that divine spark of the divine is here. But what one's mind is cranking on and ruled by depends. And it takes place whether one is either in bondage or freedom, liberation. One is liberated when the mind is quiet, when the mind is still. Because it's not having things that are coming up there that are driving you. Okay, driving you. Now, yeah. Yesterday, some of my students came up, and, you know, it's very nice to see them and see what they had to say about path, you know. And the difference with this path, and if you look back, you can look at my other channel, and you can see what I teach here is self-realization. What Nityananda is trying to promote is powers, selling powers. So he's selling more ego, things that ego is entranced by, okay? Mistakenly says that Turyatita is more powers, but it's not Turyatita. You know, Ramana says quite rightly, do you want a spiritual path or do you want powers? Okay, which is it? Turyatita is the ending of that stuff. Okay? Now if you get to realization and you want to develop powers for the aiding benefit others, then that could be done. But if your focus is powers, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there. Okay? Because it's not about powers. It's not about, that stuff is transient. That has to do with mind. It's nothing. Okay? And they can be stumbling blocks along the way, because if you are in that, some powers can come, okay? But if your focus is on clinging to that and developing that, okay, then you're missing the jewel. You're missing the diamond, okay? The difference between my students and, you know, we have the person that's out there trolling me. And of course, I know, of course, she's going to, the minute my students come up, she's going to go over there. See there? Okay? I told you, they're all trauma bonded. It's going to prove everything I've ever said. Okay, you look at her guru, Nityananda, and you look what his students do. They put on, they would come to your channel, And she's still doing this, still fabricating lies. And now I guess she's saying something that I was having sex in India and all this nonsense, just trying to dirty me in every way possible. She doesn't know about my life in India. She wasn't there. She doesn't speak to any of the students. She just makes up stuff. Okay, she makes up bald-faced lies as dirty as she can think of doing. Okay? But this is the difference in my students and his students. If you look online, you'll see his students come out and they're telling you, they're trying to curse you. Okay? Yeah, they say they are in the power of Bhairav, that he's Bhairav, and they're cursing you and you're going to die within a year. Okay? They're saying the most sexualized, ugly, filthy things they can do. Okay? And that's what they put out. Here's my students, what they're putting out. His students, what they're putting out is nasty, filthy, trying to defame others. Okay? And she is still in the same mode of darkness. Okay? And, you know, again, it's sad. It's sad. So yeah, if you're on a spiritual path, you do not teach your students to go out there and curse people, okay? And say all this nonsense, okay? So again, when you have somebody, and I had to laugh at them because they are, you know, claiming these powers that you're gonna, you know, so many times they've tried to curse me with their curses. And they always try to misuse either Kali mantras or Bhairav, and they don't understand what they're using, okay? It's foolish because, you know, the mantras are not to be used to curse others. They are to be used in another way, but I'm not going to put that out there for them. But yeah, you can't misuse and abuse spirituality. Say you're a spiritual person and go out there and make up lies about people, smarmy, nasty, filthy, degrading things, cursing people, and you say you're somebody spiritual, okay? So again, you can look at my students, what they say, and you can look up some of Nityananda's students, what they would say. It's all about powers. Look, I can make a coconut move with the thing. Look, I can read with my eyes, you know. All they talked about is trying to gain powers, okay? And every time you turn around, he was claiming some new thing. I'm an alien from the center of the earth. I make the cows speak in Sanskrit. Where? When? Okay? Just fabricated lies, drama. Okay? A genuine guru doesn't need to play dress up. One second he dresses up and says he's Shiva. The next second he dresses up and says he's Krishna. The next second he dresses up and wants to play like he's Devi, the female. Okay? Genuine gurus are honest. They're not making people sign non-disclosure agreements. Okay? They're not making them sign documents they're going to have sex with you. Okay? And this is, again, this is some of the stuff that they try to filth on other people, and it's what they are doing behind the scenes. Okay? Don't look at me. It's happening over there. You know, again, that attempting to deflect and put it elsewhere. Okay? So I don't know how many people have been watching this troll person that's been, but she's getting more and more unbalanced and nasty. okay? Making up nonsense and crap, always. So, I guess she heard me say the word tantra, so maybe that's what set her off this time. I haven't listened to it. I just got word, somebody told me, you know, and I knew, of course, she's going to go over there and say, look at there, it's everything that I ever said. It's proving what I've said, that they're trauma bonded. Do my students look trauma bonded? They're quite happy, balanced, going forward in their lives. Okay, and you can look up any of Nityananda's students, what they're out there putting out, and you'll find out it's a totally opposite dynamic. Just like this woman that was one of his students and still puts him on a pedestal. One second she's raging about how evil, nasty he is, and the next second she's got him on a pedestal again. He's got all these powers, he's, you know, and she's gotten these powers, and it's not about powers. If that's what you're seeking and looking for, then you're going down a dark road, okay? No ifs, ands, or buts. And again, you know, Kundalini is the divine is, okay? It is that energy of the universe, the primal energy of the universe. And so why are you making these fearful things about it? Now I'll tell you what will be absolutely terrified of Kundalini, and that's ego. Okay? That's ego. Because it's there to break through, to take one, to show one what one is and what one's not, to question what the universe is. Oh, you think it's all these solid things? It's going to show you it's not. It's going to show you you are not this physical form. Because one moment your consciousness can be here, and the next moment your consciousness is above the trees. Well, okay, then you can't be the physical form. If in one second you're seeing through your eyes and the next second you're above the trees seeing, you know, clearly something, you are something else than that, okay? So all these experiences that Kundalini brings up are to get one to do the inquiry. What is this, okay? What is this? Okay. So again, we get people out there and want to downgrade what they don't understand. Okay, spin it, turn it into something other than it is, take things out of context, okay, and, you know, want to try to layer on you things that are not there, okay, to try to preserve whatever thing they want to try to preserve within themselves. Because if you've got somebody that is so focused 24/7 that their whole channel revolves around what you are doing, then a nerve is being touched there, okay? Something is, you know, and they're going to kick against the goads, they're going to do everything. That's why I say, if she wants to have some peace, stop watching my channel, because, you know, the teachings I give go 180 degrees against what she is trying to manufacture. What she's trying to make right in some way, shape, or form. You can't make darkness light. No matter how much you want to try to dirty here, it's not going to work, okay? And she can say whatever she wants about my students, but people watching can see what they are, where they're coming from, and they can read some of the things that Nityananda's students have said and done. Like I said, they would take your email address, sign you up for sex toys. They would, because you're celibate, okay? These are the things that his students are doing behind the scenes, okay? Sending nasty, filthy, sexual letters. And what's the first thing she comes out with again? Trying to smear me. First it was, I'm having sex with my student. I'm raping my students. Now it's some kind of nonsense that I was having sex in India, and just absolute filth, lies. And so what type of a spiritual path is that? What type of spirituality is that? That doesn't come from spirituality and light at all. It is dark, dark, dark. Okay. Oh my goodness. So, we wish her well. My students all said they wish her well. We wish she would go get some help. If she wants to go follow Nityananda, go follow him, okay? She wants to lust after him, go ahead. But the fact that there is this railing and railing and railing against anything said here, it shows that there is no settledness there whatsoever, okay? The mind is going 1,000,000 miles an hour on every word that is spoken here, trying to make it into something toxic, okay? So again, Ramana said, and you can read his book, you can see exactly what he says about powers, about Turiyatita, what it is, what it's not. I think we've got Turiyatita is not powers, okay? It's about the samadhis. You can have Savakalpa Samadhi. External is the mind jumps from one object to another. So you need to keep it steady, fixed on the reality behind them. Okay. Or you can have the internal for Savakalpa Samadhi. The mind is afflicted by kama, krodha, etc. See where they arise from and how they have their being, hold on to their sources. So all the Sarvakalpa Samadhis are held on to with effort. You have to hold on to that Samadhi experience. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is merging in the one reality underlying the phenomena and remaining unaware of the transitory manifestations. This state is compared to the waveless ocean whose waters are still and placid. Or you have the internalized one merging in the innermost being, which is one reality that gives rise to all thoughts, etc., and remaining unaware of anything else. This state's compared to a flame unignited by currents of air, but burning quite steady. Okay. So when these kinds of nirvikalpa samadhi are not attended to with effort, and it's realized the waveless ocean of external samadhi and the steady flame of internal samadhi are identical, the state is said to be sahaj nirvikalpa samadhi. Okay. which means basically thoughts have ended. Mind is still. One is aware of that primary divine is, and that's what remains, unaffected by any of these other things. The lower samadhis are held by effort, witness state, holding to it, okay? So there's a vast difference that takes place. Turiya is held with effort. Turiyatita is still. Direct consciousness without occlusion, without thoughts, without, okay? Direct cognition, okay? Comes from a different place. So I'm going to leave this here. Much love and light, and I will see you online.